got a video of it.
I hope you're all excited and feeling brave, because I'm not. Tonight, my dears, we shall be visiting places of death, murder, execution, and spooky things. The consumption of alcohol and the smoking of anything are strictly forbidden. Chitty chatting is not recommended. Please remain seated at all times, and do wear a face covering if you can. Oh, by the way, recently, ghost hunters, some very weird things have happened on this bus. In fact, there have been so many incidents that we had to install CCTV. Hi, sorry, my shoelace was untied. Good evening, my name is Hector. I am the conductor on this bus and I will be your guide for the next hour or so. It is wonderful to see you all. Hopefully you can see me, because I can see you. Have a look at this camera here. This is the camera at the top of the stairs. We've seen some very strange things on that camera recently. Keep your eyes peeled whenever it's switched on. All you putrid people sitting downstairs in our creepy crypt tonight. There you go, you can see yourselves. Give us a big wave. Let me know you're all healthy and alive. Fantastic. Everybody upstairs, you terrifying types in our ghoulish gallery, give us a wave up there. Excellent. Finally, we call this camera here Foot Cam. Here it is. Look, there's no other camera like this anywhere in Edinburgh. It's the camera underneath your seats, and you can lift your feet right up. Go ahead. That's it. Very good. Very brave souls. Brave souls. And now, say your prayers. I'm coming up those stairs. I'm all right. The stairs get a bit steep at this time of the year. How are you all doing? Is everyone all right?
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see you. Right, before we start the tour, I'm going to tell you quickly a little bit about the bus that you're sitting on here tonight. Have a good look around it, everybody. This is one of the original Route Master buses. Now, you don't see many of these around these days. This one was made all the way back in the 1960s, and it has survived very well, touch wood. It even has its original seats. Check them out. Please don't wipe any bogies on them, by the way. They're a nightmare to get off. Believe it or not, we're moving. Once upon a time, this bus was used as a funeral vehicle. It has carried many dead people to funerals all around Edinburgh. That service had to stop all of a sudden in 1967 because one day there was a huge mysterious fire and it destroyed all the vehicles in our depot. Well, all except this one, Route Master number 667. It's near enough. Anyway, just to reassure you, nobody will jump out at you. There's no one hiding behind your seats or anything because we couldn't afford them, and no one will touch you, not since the court case. If you are facing towards the front of the bus and I say look out on the left-hand side, please just look to your left. If you're facing towards the back and I say look to the left-hand side, please look to your other left. Okay, good. I'm sure you get the hang of it before we... Anyway, let the fright scene begin! Hooray! All right, very good. So everybody, first of all tonight, for a special treat, I thought we'd take you for a drive around the new town, because not many people seem to realise how haunted the new town of Edinburgh is. As we're driving around generally, I will show you lots of haunted places, and I'll be telling you some true ghost stories as well. So I should probably turn the lights down. Can I get an ooh? Wonderful. So we're now travelling down the Mound. In the direction of the very famous Princess Street. The mound is so called because that's what it is. It's a big mound of earth here that was dug out from the land on either side of us about 600 years ago. At the time they wanted to make a moat next to Edinburgh Castle on our left there, and they called it the very much for joining me down in this old graveyard. Come over here, come on, come on. Don't be scared. Promise not to spit or burp. Right, Trump, don't tell anyone. Can you all hear me at the back? All right, brilliant. Welcome. Have any of you ever been down into this old graveyard before?
No.
Okay,
No.
Ace. Well, I can tell you anything and you'll just have to believe me. That's always nice. This is St. Cuthbert's Kirkyard. Kirk being the old Scottish word for church, and it's one of the oldest cemeteries. In fact, it's the oldest anywhere in the city centre. Everywhere you stand in here tonight, you are standing on top of the dead. Every inch of this graveyard has been used for burials at one time or another, and the graves even extend right under there, under that busy road in front of you. So don't let these old gravestones here fool you. They are mostly Victorian. Okay, there's far more bodies buried in here than gravestones marking them, and they're even under this road that you're standing on now. And if you have a look over here at this building in the corner, this is an old watchtower put here in 1827. It is unique, and it was built to defend the graveyard against evil body snatchers, grave robbers. They used to sneak in here at the night time, dig up dead people, put them in wheelbarrows and sell them to doctors. And they made good money, but please don't get any ideas while you are visiting, okay? Or I'll get in serious trouble. And somebody used to sit up in that window there all night long, watching over the graveyard, guarding it from those ghoulish criminals. Right, now, I'm just gonna walk through here. Don't be too alarmed. I shall try. Now, I've promised you that we'll go for a walk. In a moment, we'll just go down there, folks. But I have to tell you, this graveyard is haunted by the ghost of a little girl. She's not as innocent as she might sound, because she physically attacks people.
So we're going to escape the graveyard in a minute. We'll be going down there. We'll be going back up the stairs. You see, Angus has kindly kept the bus up there for us so we can just get on it in a sec. So while you're walking down this path, do feel free to take some pictures. As many pictures as you like. And by the way, you should probably have a good look at them afterwards, yeah? Examine your photographs very carefully, because I can't tell you the number of pictures that we get with, you know, strange lights in them, and shadows, and figures, and faces, you name it. And also have a look at the batteries on your mobile phones, because we regularly see people's batteries suddenly dropping in power. Stuff like that. So if any of you feel anything weird or you experience anything unusual, please tell us, because we love that sort of thing. So we're going down here. Once we get back to the bus, please take your original seat.
Oh, yeah, man.
And watch out for the rats! Come on!
I'm taking video of it. You can go frame by frame.
I'm just going back to service.
Video, go frame by frame.
I pay good money.
Ooh, my battery life is fine. Probably.
Okay. Tomer, this is not supposed to be my camera. You stopped working. Is that all?
His camera just stopped working.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
St. Cuthbert's Kirkyard. And that was the only walking section of the tour.
Oh.
We shall not be getting off the bus again. Ever. Going to head round the corner near the castle in a moment. Let's check with Angus and see if there's any news. Hey Angus, how's it going?
There's blood on this bus.
I'm sorry, what? Blood?
Before the tour, I found something red and sticky under one of the seats.
Yeah, red and sticky. Maybe it's jam.
Jam?
Yeah, maybe somebody had a donut on one of the tours earlier.
It didn't smell like jam. It smelled like blood.
Maybe it was a cheap donut, Tesco value.
It was blood. Blood.
Okay, thanks very much, Angus. You're distressing some of the passengers, and you're also distressing me.
They should know the danger they're in. I could tell them.
Oh dear, clumsy me, I fell on his switch again. Something not right with that man. You know, he recently replaced all the windows on the bus and then realised he had a crack in his glasses. So if you look out on the left, there's Edinburgh Castle on top of the rock, Castle Rock. Haunted by about 7 different ghosts, that castle, including a little drummer boy who usually appears headless, standing on this side of the battlements, looking out over the city. He was first seen in 1650, the day before Oliver Cromwell laid siege to the castle and went to live in there. Sometimes the kitchen staff say they can hear drumming coming from underneath the kitchen floor, where the cellars are, and there's definitely nobody down there. 'Tis very spooky business indeed. Anyway, now we're making our way into the old town itself. We're going to head in the direction of the Grass Market, making our way along West Bow, which is another haunted street round the corner on our left. Keep your eyes open, everybody. It is haunted by the Wizard of West Bow, also known as Major Thomas Weir. He was a member of the Covenanters Army here in the 1600s. Quite a powerful and important person. But one day he sort of announced to a room full of judges that he'd been secretly in league with the devil for 20 years. So they took him up to Carlton Hill and burned him to death in front of his sister. What a silly man. Sometimes people see him walking around here wearing a long dark cloak, carrying a big tall staff with a ram's head on it. It's very easy to recognise. So please give him my regards if you ever happen to pass him. Here is the Grass Market, a very popular destination for visitors to Edinburgh throughout the year. But this also used to be where they had executions, including hangings. They even hanged a woman here once. Now, call me old-fashioned, I don't agree with that. I just don't think a woman should be hung like a man. Her name was Maggie Dixon. If you look out on the left-hand side, Look for a pub named after her on the left. It's just, she fell pregnant to an innkeeper's son, right, in the 1700s. The baby was born prematurely, then it very sadly died. Maggie was found guilty of its murder, so they brought her down here. They hanged her afterwards, okay? They noticed her coffin lid was moving, so they opened up the coffin and they looked inside it. Maggie was still alive. The hanging had not worked, so they gave her a pardon. She lived for about another 40 years. They gave her a nickname, Half Hing It Maggie, Half Hanged Maggie. I rather like that one myself. We're going to stop just here. Normally, right, this is a special diversion for you tonight, Ghost Hunters. So normally we would have turned right back at the little roundabout behind us there. We can't do that at the moment. There was a big fire up there a few weeks ago, but I will tell you about that street because it goes right past one of the most haunted graveyards in the world, Greyfriars Kirkyard. I'm sure you've all heard of Greyfriars Bobby from the Disney film. Here he is on your television screen. What a lovely dog he was. He was a Skye Terrier, and they're very faithful. And according to the story, he stayed at his master's graveside for 14 years. Isn't that lovely? That man just would not let go of that little dog's lead. But there is a darker side to Greyfriars Kirkyard. So if you're planning a visit anytime soon, please stay away from this tomb. It's called the Black Mausoleum, and it appears in my nightmares quite regularly. It is where the evil, restless spirit of Sir George Mackenzie resides, also known as Bloody Mackenzie. Now, he was the Lord Advocate, like a really powerful judge guy who lived here in the 1600s. But he wasn't very nice. He was also responsible for the deaths of about 1,200 people whose only crime was standing up against the king to defend their religion. They were known as the Covenanters, right? Most of them died in a little prison just near to the Black Mausoleum, just on the other side of Greyfriars Kirkyard. In the last few years, people have experienced chills, bruises, scratches, bites. Some of them have even been knocked unconscious by an evil, unseen force. Right, we're going to start moving again in a moment. Okay, everybody. Now, when we do, if you look out on your right-hand side, over there, just ahead of us, there is a famous pub. It's called the Three Sisters, and it's named after the Mackinnon sisters. They lived and worked in that pub in the 1700s. They were actually a little company of singers and dancers. They did very well for themselves, but after a while, I'm afraid they got into a spot of bother for performing after hours without a license, and times were very harsh back then, even more than today, and they were punished for this by execution. They were choked and their bodies were walled up in the room that they used to perform in and left there to rot. And I believe that the spirits of the Mackinnon sisters still make themselves known to this day. Bear that in mind next time you pop in that pub for a swift bite. So we're now driving along the Cow Gate through the underbelly of old Edinburgh. Edinburgh used to be a walled city. There was not very much room here. So they couldn't build the city outwards or they would have hit the wall. They had to build it upwards, you see. This is sort of the lowest level and where all the old slums used to be. And as we drive under some of the bridges here, bear in mind that they contain old vaults that are said to be very haunted. The bridge just up ahead is haunted by the ghost of Mr. Boots, an old slum landlord who lived here at the turn of the 1800s. He's seen wandering around inside the vaults just above us now, carrying a broken bottle. But I'm going to stop the fright seeing for a moment, everybody, because I'd like to give you some important information. No, today is not my birthday. Now, you might remember at the beginning of the tour I told you about the strange, mysterious fire that destroyed many of our buses in 1967. But what I didn't mention was that somebody lost their life in the fire that night. It was a young woman. And her ghost is said to haunt this bus to this day. And she's actually quite a troublesome poltergeist. Occasionally, she interferes with things. We see things, we hear things. Now, I don't know very much else about her. I know she was a woman. That's about it. Oh, but I do also know that her name was Jenny. break. Stay in your seats. I'm sure that was just an electrical problem. To be on the safe side, let's just check the cameras. Is there anything weird happening on stair cam? Can anybody see? Just a strange red circle floating across the screen. That's fine, that happens all the time. Are you okay downstairs? Everybody still alive? Fantastic. How are you doing up in the gallery? Everyone still okay?
Yay!
2 people. All right, we're doing well tonight. And let's check our feet. You can never be too sure. You can tell a lot about people from their shoes. Here you go. Look, what wonderful stilettos. Somebody has come out on the tour in tonight. That's... Oh my goodness, what is that? What is... There are no pets allowed on the ghost bus. It's in the terms and conditions on the website. I put it there myself. That's huge. And it's playing hide and squeak right up that lady's trouser leg. I'm very sorry. Hopefully it will escape when we get round the next corner. Anyway, where are we? Look. Ooh, Holyrood Road. Lots of posh modern buildings down here at the moment. Once upon a time this was all tenements and slums as well. Mainly built in the 1600s. When those buildings were first put up, you know, the richer people liked to live up at the tops and the poorer people had to live at the bottoms of the buildings. There was a good reason for that. Back then, no one had a toilet because it hadn't been invented. Instead, everyone just had a little wooden bucket, you know, that they kept in the corner of their living room. And in the evening, one member of every rich person's household had to just empty that wooden bucket out of an open window onto the street below, shouting, "Gardiloo!" While the poor people stood there like that and shouted, "Sugar, what a mess." Imagine all that human waste drifting down to those closest towards the Royal Mile. Ugh. That's partly what gave Edinburgh its nickname, Old Reeky. So we're going to make our way through towards Holyrood Park in a moment. You will see the fabulous Arthur's Seat. Our famous miniature mountain. Holyrood Park is currently a nature reserve and an area for recreation. Once upon a time it was a hunting ground used by the royal family. Some people believe it is prowled by an 8-foot-long savage wild creature with glowing red eyes known as Arthur's Beast. Keep your eyes open for him. Here we come. Here's Arthur's Seat's just going to appear. We get round the corner, look out on your right-hand side. About 200 years ago, one morning, 5 young boys and their dog went to hunt for rabbits on Arthur's Seat. And when they were nearly at the top of the hill, the dog stopped. He sat down, started sniffing the air, and then digging and digging and digging. That dog eventually discovered a tiny, secret cave. So one of the boys went, "I'm going in there, me." And when he came out again, he was carrying these. Have a look at your televisions. Ooh, 16 10-centimetre long wooden coffins, the like of which have never been seen before or since in this part of the world. Inside each of the coffins, somebody had put a carefully carved oak figure, each one with its own face, hair, clothes and shoes, and very detailed. And to this day, they are a mystery. Nobody knows who put them there or why. Maybe they had something to do with witchcraft. Perhaps they were tributes to murder victims. Maybe, we'll never know. But they are on display to the public at the National Museum of Scotland on Chambers Street. So there you go, you can go check them out for yourself. So on our right-hand side, currently everybody, is Holyrood Palace. And that's another haunted building, haunted by the ghost of Bald Agnes. Her real name was Agnes Sampson, and she was a midwife. She lived in the 1500s. One day she was arrested and accused of witchcraft, so they dragged her down there to the palace. She had all the hair on her body shaved off completely because they were looking for signs of the devil. They never found any, but after that Agnes was tortured for a long time. She eventually confessed to witchcraft. She was finally burnt to death on Carlton Hill in 1591. Absolutely tragic true story for you there. And sometimes people do see a naked, bald old lady hanging about in one of the windows at the west wing of the palace. Usually at exactly the same time as the Queen is visiting. So if you look on the left-hand side, there's the Parliament building as well there for you, everybody. As far as I'm aware, that's not haunted, although it was obviously designed and built by a possessed madman. And it cost £404 million to build. So, if you're Scottish, have a look at that building and see what your money got spent on. And if you're not Scottish, have a look at the Scottish people and laugh. So, we're now going to make our way in the direction of the Canon Gate, one of the most haunted streets anywhere in this part of Edinburgh. Off we go then, Angus. Very good. So never fear, when we get round the corner, do have a good look around, because there are some of the oldest buildings in Edinburgh in that area, and I'm sure everything will be...
Mr. Conductor.
Yes?
Something's not right tonight.
What do you mean?
We're in danger.
What? I'm trying to tell stories, Angus, do you mind?
There's a disturbing presence on this bus. It doesn't want us here.
Right, the only disturbing presence on this bus is you.
We have to leave the bus now.
We can't leave the bus, we haven't finished the tour.
Very well. But if somebody dies, it's your fault.
Nobody's going to die. Speaking of death, by the way, that woman Jenny I was telling you about was absolutely obsessed with death. She was mad for it. She loved funerals. She used to come here to this bus whenever there was a funeral, wearing a long black dress with her smelly, oily hair, stinking of pomegranates. And she made such a nuisance of herself. She wouldn't leave the bus. Eventually, they had to ask her to go away, and she attacked some of the staff. This was her final resting place. Jenny died on this bus the night of that tragic fire, coughing and choking from smoke inhalation. A terrible way to die. And a couple of years ago, a psychic came on one of my tours, you know, and at the end she came up to me and went, "Hector, I keep hearing a voice saying, 'Get out of my seat!'" And it's a young woman's voice. Very spooky business. Personally, I don't particularly trust psychics. I went out with a psychic once. She kept seeing people behind my back. Anyway, we are coming up the Canon Gate, and some of the oldest buildings in Edinburgh are up here, everybody, so do have a good look around. There is a ghost that I know that stands up at the top, bit further along on the left-hand side, the ghost of the stabbed lady. She stands in a white nightgown covered in red patches. You can't miss her. Sorry about this. Wait a minute, this is very disturbing. Wait a minute, sorry. Sorry. What's the driver doing? He's not spilling that expensive Glenmorangie single cask into the gearbox area, is he? Some of that's meant to be for me. Can't get the stuff. I don't like it.
Who's that woman?
Please keep your eyes in your head for 5 minutes, Angus, would you?
You're not supposed to let people on during the tour.
What? I never let anyone on during the tour. What do you mean?
You've picked up another passenger.
No, I haven't. Where are they? Upstairs or downstairs?
It's her. Jenny's here.
Angus, you just keep trying to wind me up, and I'll keep your share of the tips. See how you like them apples? So here we are going down, I think, what is Market Street? Okay, it's still happening. I don't like this. It's giving me the heebie-jeebies. Turning the lights on. Ah, it's not funny. Emergency procedure time. I'll tell you what, though, I've got a horrible feeling somebody might have switched the mic off by accident. Somebody or something might have come to join us on the bus tonight. Now hopefully it's not who I think it is, but just in case it's her and she sees her own reflection in the window and then all hell breaks loose, could you do me a big favour? Let's close all the curtains immediately. Close all the curtains, guys. I'll come round and help. Okay, I feel a bit better, thanks. Thanks for your help. Now, I've just had an idea. I don't suppose anyone on the bus this evening has ever taken part in a séance before, have they? A séance. It means talking to ghosts and stuff. In French. No? Okay, fair enough. Neither have I. But there is a first time for everything, and I'm not scared. So let's see if we can join our energies together and make friends with the spirit that's joined us tonight. Okay, everybody? So, very simple. On a count of 3, could you all please concentrate? Ready, everybody? 1, 2, 3, concentrate. Hang on, I can hear somebody breathing at the back. That's not proper concentrating, even I know that. Right, this time everybody, let's try again, and let's really concentrate as if our lives depend on it, which they might. Ready, everyone? 1, 2, 3, concentrate. Okay, that's a bit better. Yes, I can feel the energy rising. I'm now going to try to make friends with the spirit. Here I go. Is there anybody there? Keep concentrating. Keep concentrating. Sometimes the spirits can be a bit hard of hearing, do you know what I mean? Especially with these nasty pandemics going around and stuff like that. It can take them a moment or two to... Okay, something's happening. I think it might be working. Do you have a message for us? Are you trying to make friends with the living? Keep concentrating. It really adds to the atmosphere. Okay, thanks. You can all stop concentrating. A tiny little bit of wee just came out. Right, whatever you do, don't leave your seats. I'm going to make a very quick emergency telephone call. I won't be a moment.
On the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round all night long.
Oh! Sorry, I tripped over myself. Is everyone all right? I think she's gone. You just survived a terrifying ordeal. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Can someone possibly check the floor for puddles? Thanks, I just saw 3 grown adults actually having a look. That was a bit disturbing. Angus and I have agreed that it's possibly no longer safe to stay on the bus now in case she comes back, so he's going to drive as quickly and carefully as he can back to the lawn market where we started the tour about an hour ago. Hold on tight! Feel free to open the curtains so you can see where you're going. Ah! Well done, everybody. Gosh, you're brave souls. I'm very impressed. That takes us almost to the end of the tour. So please, don't forget to gather up any personal possessions and take them home with you tonight. And don't try and escape from the bus until it has come to a complete stop, as I'll let you know when it's safe to do that. And you have been a wonderful group to take around the darker side of the city this evening. I have very much enjoyed your company, and I appreciate you coming out and braving the Edinburgh weather. Thanks a lot for travelling with me, Hector, and our wonderful driver, Angus, on the Ghost Bus. Good night! Thank you so much. Have a look for us on TripAdvisor. Leave us some kind comments, and if any of you are feeling generous, you are very welcome to show your gratitude to myself and your driver on your way off the bus. Thanks again, everybody. We'll have you back safe and sound in no time.